Hey everyone, I welcome you all in today's Meshery development meeting. We are live. So today is, I think, today is 13 March 2024, and I welcome you all to the Meshery development meeting. In this meeting, for those who are new to this meeting, in this meeting we discuss mainly about the features and bugs and issues related to the Meshery. Meshery is a CNCF project which helps you to manage your cloud native infrastructure in different environments with capability of managing multi-cluster management. Also, you can like do that management collaboratively. So we have lots of things that you can explore with the Meshery. So we will talk about that today. So before going ahead and jumping to the agendas, we in these meetings we have a tradition in which we allow or encourage everyone who's are new to this meeting to introduce themselves and to the community. Yeah, introduce themselves to the community. So I will start myself first. So hey everyone, this is Yash, and I'm a meshmate over here. I also did an internship over here. So if you have any kind of issue related to front end and back end, I will be here for you to help with. So yeah, who would like to go next and introduce themselves? I think most of us are already previous ones. Shaurya, are you new to this meeting? Would you like to introduce yourself?
No, guys, I'm not new to this meeting. But yeah, I'll just introduce. I'm Shaurya, and I'm pursuing my final year CS degree, and have been contributing for about like two months now, and it's been a good experience. So yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Shaurya. It's nice to have you today. Uh, John, would you like to introduce? Okay, so if you have any kind of issue related to mic, you can always introduce yourself in the chat. So most of us are already as a member of the community. So let's start with our agenda. So yeah, before going to the agenda, also make sure that you add your name in the attendees list. So I will share the link in the chat so that you can add that. Okay, so let's start with our first agenda, which is from Shaurya. Shaurya, would you like to share about the refactored and restructured code of the Meshery brand page?
Yeah, I'll just share my screen 1 minute. Give me a minute. I think you can see my screen. Uh, yeah, I think you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, so Lee and Rex suggested a few changes for the Meshery brand page. The for the code for the restructuring of the code, and Vivek also suggested. So I inculcated some a lot of changes, and this is how the preview looks like. I just had a call with Rex some time ago, and he suggested some UI fixes as well. So I'll fix them, and yeah. So that is just an update from my end. And this PR, I've updated the PR with the latest commit, so the reviews are still pending. So that was just a quick update from my end. Yeah.
Sure, did you address each of the comments?
Yeah, Rex. Sorry, Lee. I addressed each of the comments. Yeah.
Great. Can you show the code real fast?
Sure. I'll just go to the comments. Right. 1 minute.
No, just go to the files changed if you would.
Yeah.
Why? We are not. There shouldn't be 29 files changed. That's probably that indicates maybe something's going on.
Uh, Lee, I inculcated the new since I pulled the upstream, so some changes might be there as well. I pulled the upstream as well, so
Yep. Okay, good. Yeah, but if you look at the left-hand side of all
yeah,
the files that are changed on the left-hand side and scroll down a little bit.
sure.
No, the very, very left-hand side.
This okay. Yeah.
Yeah. not sure. Do we do, I don't know that it's one page, right? And you're breaking it into 8 individual pages or 7 individual pages.
Uh, yeah, that is because for
Yeah, but you
example,
don't need to, no, yeah, but there's no, yep, you don't need to do it. It could just be one page. It's not necessary.
so basically
It
the
ends up being
brand.
confusing. Those pages, those sections aren't going to be reused either. So
Okay,
the idea of making them an include, that's kind of the basis by which you'd create something as an include if it's to be reused.
okay,
In this case, they're probably not. And so the effect that it has is it just makes it a little more
understood.
harder to maintain.
Okay. So you want me
So,
to put everything in one file? Like it'll be a,
yep,
I think it'll be a lot, like
yes,
very big
yes,
file.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Then don't write it very big. Or like it's it's a pretty short thing. It's one style, like SAS style file,
Yeah.
uh, one HTML page,
Okay.
however many new images you might have.
Okay.
Um, that's probably that's about it. So you've got brand.s CSS that's on the money. That's wonderful.
I put all the CSS, I mean the SCSS into one file. Yeah, I did that.
Nice. Can you go to the Meshery logo, the Meshery image that was just there?
Sure.
Rex, what's one of the rules? So this is a single image, right?
Yes.
Yep. Don't the brand page itself, like that you're making, it should talk about the do's and don'ts of what you do with Meshery's logos. You do not edit the logos. This is an edited logo. There's no such logo that has Meshery. And so we gotta fix this.
Yeah,
Gotta
I think that's from my end. I stacked them up. I think that's where the issue came from.
yeah.
From
Rex, this will
that,
be
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's from my end. I'll
Cool.
take
Got
it.
you. Yeah, good, good. We're gonna keep learning this one because I think we covered that one last time. All right. If maybe is that the same thing for the right logo, the next one down? Good.
Right.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely well, I can't think of another word other than bastardization of the logos, like exactly what we're not supposed to be doing. And so, well, today's the deadline for this, both for Rex and for Shoria. So it might just be some quick work to refactor, just kind of, pull those files into one. Rex doesn't even have to export these again. These are all available on the brand page that we are no longer pointing to. So you can just download them from there and use them. Moreover, these logos should already be in the Meshery.io site. Now, did you guys make it so you can download the kit itself, the brand kit?
No, I don't think we're downloading it. I didn't get any material from it, wasn't there on Figma or anything. So that
Yeah,
is also
that
left.
way. So sure, yeah, yep. So go to Meshery.io now, if you would. And if you navigate in the menu to where it says brand,
Okay.
that'll take you to the page that you're replacing, right?
Here, or should
Yep,
I?
yes. On this page, there's a brand kit for Meshery. Rex, did you guys include this in the mockup? Brand kit.
This
I,
is the one kit I
this
can.
is the brand kits that I saw personally as well. This is their first brand kit. I'm not
Yep.
sure that there was a Meshery one.
Yep. And I'm not referring to Layer 5's brand kit. Yep. I'm referring to this, like if you navigate to Meshery, sure, yeah. Nope. If you would navigate to the Meshery section on that page, you know what? Let's probably talk. Like we're probably not going to get this one. It's maybe we should call it what it is. There's just some kind
Yeah.
of
This. Okay.
okay, Rex. I'm sure you guys want to maybe huddle up after the call, think about it, figure out what's our best plan forward.
sort it out. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Nice. Well, Shoya, thanks for working on this.
Thanks a lot, Rex. I know it's been a lot of iterations, but I tried my best to fix. Actually, it was more of the design part that we needed to iterate, me and Rex, and we were on call and chat like all this while. So thanks for your feedback as well. All right. Uh, so I was on a call with Rex before this call as well, and he suggested me some changes on the UI part of the like the page I've developed. And after this, we'll just get in a huddle or a call, something, and just discuss then when can we just finish this off. Sure.
Awesome. Oh, that's great. Yeah, that'll be a nice win. W- And one of the things that it's probably easy to overlook, but in the menu under resources, as you go to switch out the URL for that menu item, you'll end up removing that external link. Sure. Yeah.
Should I share my screen again? 1 minute.
Oh, you're already sharing it right now. If you go to resources menu in Meshery IO, there you go. So you want to, not only update the location of that hyperlink, but also remove the external icon.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to remove this. Sure. All right.
Yeah. Real quick, that contributing menu item, where's that? Okay.
Go to the docs and contribute.
Yeah. I guess that's an external link. Huh, okay. Yeah, thanks.
All right.
Oh.
Thank you, Shaurya. I have a small review. So can you go into your PR?
I'll go back to my preview or the.
Yeah, okay, stay over here. So the name of this logo in the file, you used space in the name.
Yeah.
Make sure that you are not using space, which either what is the convention we are following? I think we are following the hyphen convention. So make sure you don't have, otherwise it will cause the issues in the future.
Got it. Got it. All right.
And one thing like we already discussed in website meeting that you are use same type of data is there and you are like using different HTML pages. I think with we have like given that in data directory you will get the JSON data, like you can put the data and just you have to make a single page and include it.
Yeah. So as Lee suggested that I can put everything into the one page, so I'll now consider that as well. It will make it more modular. Sure.
Thank you, Shaurya. Any other review for Shaurya? Okay, thank you, Shaurya, for giving the update. We can, if there is anything more to discuss, we can share, or otherwise we will move forward.
All right.
Yeah, just hang in there, Shoya. You're so close. Almost
I'll
there.
share. 1 minute. Sure.
Yeah. Oh. No, actually, sure. Yeah, I was just saying, like, hey, you're almost at the finish line. Hang in there.
Sure.
You're really
Sure. No problems.
Good.
Thanks. All right.
So, Abid, would you like to share about the fixed connection assignment to your environments?
Yeah. So in the connections page, we have this multi-select where we can assign a particular connection to some environments, and there were actually a couple of bugs with the assignment. So the actual issue was like once we select some environments, like this is a multi-select, so we can select multiple environments, and the backend accepts all of these as separate post requests. So what happens, like when we are selecting a bunch of these environments, say like while doing a select all, these requests would go to backend, but they were not coordinated. So like we were having a race condition where we don't know like which of the requests would be finished at the last, and that would be the actual result that we will get back. So even if we were selecting all, there might be just like two selected if the first request made to the last, or like that was finished at the end. So that was the race condition issue, and that was also causing the multiple of these notifications popping up because all of these were not properly coordinated. And there was another thing, like if I click on cross and I keep clicking on all of these, were getting a separate request. So the backend would request a 10, 20 requests So I fixed that and also fixed the race condition. So now we are doing it sequentially. Once we are making a request, we don't attempt a new request till that one is finished. So that fixed the race condition and that fixed the multiple requested, and for the race condition, we're properly awaiting all of these promises which so we can sequentially process each of these requests. There is another issue which is on the back end, that it is accepting multiple like duplicate connection environments to a single connection. I think that's not the right thing to do here. So I think that this should be a fix on backend possibly, but other than that, I fixed the race conditions here. There would actually, like, for these kinds of issues, it would be great like if these resources support bulk operations, so then it's just an atomic call from here and we don't jump into these issues. Because I think because we support this environment assignment to designs and other resources also on the in workspaces and other places, I think we might jump into the same issues there also. I think it's also like easy, just a single API call is more performant that way.
Yeah, it makes sense. And the change required to make a bulk operation can be easy. You just instead of accepting a single ID, we need to accept the array of ID. It's
Yeah.
just a simple change. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So from now, we will be making sure that even if I assign multiple connections to an environment, we will be showing a single notification roster, right?
Yeah, like we would still show like all of them. Like if I select like these four, I will get four pop-ups for each of these because I'm making a separate API call for each of these. But we won't get duplicate. Like even if I click it multiple times or remove this multiple times, I won't get duplicate. So only one single request will be made, and there won't be any race condition between which one reaches the server at last.
Cool. Hey, that's not couple of questions, Abid, if I could. Does this particular component, this drop down, is it a component from Systent by chance?
No, actually, it's not. It's from a package MUI select.
Oh, okay.
React select, I guess.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Also
That
not
might-
MUI.
Yeah, React select.
Gotcha. That might be why there's this kind of 1/4 selected thing. What happens when you
Lucky,
click
like
on-
this is our thing. Like this is our thing.
Oh, okay. What happens when you it says 1/4 selected, and if you click on the checkbox, what does it do?
So it would select all of these.
I guess
Then it would be 7 out of 4. And I think there is some logic issue here also.
Actually, in my PR, I've removed this. I've made a simple multi-select. As you said, we will not having so many of environments. So I made that like simple multi-select and remove this checkbox and the count of selection.
Oh, makes sense to me. That's awesome. That's great.
Like just on the back end, we need to fix the duplicate issue, I think. Because that's the same issue that happens with the cloud while the GitHub app was getting assigned multiple times. Because I think that might be the same issue.
Thank you, Abid. Thank you, Abid, for sharing the update and everyone for sharing with you on that. Hussein, would you like to go next or the schema validations for annotations?
Yeah, sure. So basically, the annotation components, meaning like the component definitions that we have, like the component inside model, they have a property called as is annotation. And if property is set to true, meaning that component is just for logical representation and will not be provisioned on the cluster or any of the infrastructure. It is just for logical representation and grouping of the component inside the canvas. So the problem is with that is if such components have schema, we should validate it, because like that would even if, because that means something logically to the user, and we should not allow like any user to enter any random values, and then the next user that comes in will not understand like what is the meaning for this component, or what does this components config mean. So there was an issue wherein uh, some of the annotation components also allow like the empty schema, because the annotation components doesn't mandate they should have a schema, but they if have a but if they have a schema, we should validate it. But there currently what was happening, we are like always validating is annotation components as well, which is good. But if some of the annotations doesn't have a schema, we are failing out, and we were reporting an error, and which was like breaking the deployment flow and everything. So in this PR, what I'm doing is I'm skipping the validation for is annotation components if they don't have a schema. If they have a schema, I'm validating it. But if they don't have a schema, I'm skipping the validation. And this is somewhat related to the issue that was raised uh, today. It is not exactly this PR doesn't directly addresses that issue, because the root cause for the issue that I'm talking about, I will open it just a minute.
It's closed, I guess. That's why you're not seeing it.
So in this, the primary cause for this issue was the schema for that is annotation component was invalid. So if you see, the type was represented as string with an capital S. So this was the primary reason of the error that is being pointed in this issue description. So the fix for this, the primary fix for this issue was like ensuring we write correct type for it. But after I encountered this issue or fixed this issue, when I was like testing another thing, I found that if the annotation don't have a schema, then also we are failing. So I created this PR and ensured like we skip validation for annotations if they don't have a schema. Any questions, Lee or Abid, or anyone else?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't seem right. Why doesn't it seem right?
Because the annotation, not all, because for example, you consider shape is just for
Yeah.
like the not will
Yeah.
not always have a schema. So
Yeah, yeah, but you don't need
but in
special, you shouldn't need special logic. It seems like you're addressing the symptom, not the root cause. You know, like why isn't it validating, or why isn't validation passing?
because the library that we internally use itself like fails if we provide like empty schema, if we try to create a schema set from the empty schema. So there itself, like the library that we use for validation itself fails. So
Okay.
that is the
In the fix, does the fix include any logic around the property is annotation?
yes.
Why? Is that not
Because like
universally true that any component given to the pattern engine, if it's missing a schema, that you would not validate it?
no, because other than is annotation components, all other components don't
Yeah,
get
but-
registered if they have an empty schema. They
Yeah, but isn't
don't
what
get
I-
registered.
Isn't really a CRD
Yeah,
CRD component does not get registered?
yeah. They don't like if they don't have a valid schema, then or empty schema, they don't get registered unless they are is annotation.
Oh yeah, when during dynamic discovery of a Kubernetes cluster, the CRD resource, the resource called CRD, it doesn't get registered.
No,
Okay. Huh. I'll come back to you on that one.
Actually, like the CRDs that we sometimes see in Meshmap, like they get, I think, registered because they have multiple schemas.
Yeah,
so if that is
duplicates.
happening, then means like the registration logic is not universal. So the same registration logic is not invoked.
Yeah. Yash, did you recently enhance the models API to exclude the return of something like a CRD, a dynamically registered CRD?
No, I didn't make any changes.
Then it would have been Uzer, I suppose. There was a recent Golang change around this because such a component is getting registered. Anyway, I guess Uzer, what I'm trying to highlight is that I don't know that the logic necessarily needs to include any reasoning around the concept of is annotation. Because if it is universally true that you don't want to validate or perform validation on any component that doesn't have a schema, like it might be true what you're saying that there's no components that are ever registered without a schema. And so that's but
Yeah, that is for sure. Like we don't allow registration for components which don't have a schema. And if that is the case with like, and if there is a component inside during the dynamic registration for Kubernetes, if there is a component, that means like it has a schema. So CRDs also have like a schema. They have a schema, but the thing is they have multiple schemas, and that's why RGS fails to load. The CRD like don't have. It is not the case that CRD has an empty schema.
gotcha.
And if you are
Yep.
allowing to like register actual workloads without schema, then like they actually don't mean user cannot interact with that component. They cannot configure it. So it is meaningless for user to have that
Yep.
component registered unless it is
So
is annotation.
Yeah. For the logic that ignores validation of a component that is schemaless, what does that have to do? Does the logic need to include anything around is annotation?
As said previously, the is annotation is the is annotation components having is annotation property are the only components that we allow to register without schema, because they are just for logical, and we can have such components. And because is annotation components have empty schema, it is the reason for including is annotation inside that pattern engine.
Yeah. If there's a bug in which there are components that get registered without a schema, like annotation components, what I'm trying to highlight is that it's a universally true statement, what you've said before, that the pattern engine shouldn't perform validation on any schemaless components. And so my question is, why would you caveat that rule with, only if the component is an annotation, instead of it just being.
So as you said, like if there is an bug and we somehow that empty schema-less component got registered, so we need to fail it, and we need to inform the user like this is the component that has failed validation, and this is the reason for it, because like, it is the non-empty schema. If we fail silently, then the user will be like unaware and not sure about like why that deployment process that didn't went through.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. It's still also true what I'm saying about the universal statement that you wouldn't want to caveat that the qualifier for whether or not to validate a component is singular. Does it have a schema? Is that right?
I feel like
Yeah.
like if a component doesn't have a schema, it like automatically makes it non-semantic, like an annotation, say annotation, like it automatically makes it kind of useless. Then we don't need to validate. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah. Yep. Because there's nothing to validate. Well, or not in that sense anyway. Although there is a higher level schema to validate if any component, every component has the Meshery component schema to satisfy. It may also have a secondary schema to satisfy, the schema of the managed entity itself. And so we might be going around in circles. Uzair, I'm simply saying the logic as to whether or not to validate a field called schema should just be whether or not that field is empty. Now, there should be other logic, and there is other logic around whether or not a component has the property is annotation set to true. There's things that should key off of that. We should also, it's a good time to ensure that we're doing validation of the overarching component itself, not just validation of the schema of the managed entity, but yeah. Do you know, are we doing that? Like at an API level?
No, right now we don't do that.
Okay.
We don't do that.
Yeah. there's a relevant question. And I suspect we would do this at a different level, at a different area in the code. Just schema validation for all of the schema bound APIs that Meshery has.
Yeah, that would be like a different level.
Yeah. Do you guys know, is that a like common functionality of something like Echo or something like Gorilla?
I'm not aware of the Echo's functionality, but there are certainly open API tools which integrate with such frameworks and do the request validations. And so one of them is like the one you are like slightly using in one of the remote provider. It supports validation based on the open API spec.
Got you. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Good. Josh.
Thank you, Zeb. Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, let's come to the next from the protocol. Would you like to share out the Meshery CTL and I guess it's PR introduction first?
Sure.
Before?
1 second.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 second. Yeah. So basically, I have one um, regarding with the Meshery here. So this will be enhancement for us, a new feature in the models command, which will help the user to import the predefined models. I have updated the PR. I will update the PR soon for the like for right now. This PR is just if the models that the user want to import are present in his local system. And the second option will be if the user want to import the models from a particular URL, just like the GitHub or any other URL. So that thing has been implemented. I just have to raise up, update the PR for it. And the second update is regarding the relationships like for the cache policy and the AWS controller CloudFront models. So this relationship is with the cache policy and the open request policy. So basically, every time whenever a user opens a request, the particular cache or cookies header cookie or the header will be set for that particular component. The second one is similar with the uh, again with the models with the AWS controller CloudFront. Like this one is regarding the distribution and the cache policy. So every time whenever there will be a distribution for a particular component like the secure socket layer or any other policy, any other we can say that a transfer policy, the cache policy will be attached to that particular component. And the last one is related to the field export and the Kubernetes component, like the AWS CloudFront allow us to export all the fields of the Kubernetes resources. So these are the updates from us.
Rapul, have you exercised the deny?
I haven't exercised like there aren't much resources that will tell us what are the fields that the AWS CloudFront can export. Right, for now, they are just saying like all the fields of the Kubernetes can be exported. So here is just a small question that I raised for uh, Uzair, like if we use the star inside or writing a particular name for a particular component, would that work? If so, then we don't have to write. Like if some user came and he said that so that particular component shouldn't have a relationship with uh, like a field export. We shouldn't export this field. Then we can use the deny.
Yeah, we support wildcard inside kind. For example, if you see other relationship, I think hierarchical, which is
Edge
related to
case.
some shapes. Yeah, we support like wildcard. And yeah, as your in in your example, like if some user comes in and Like if there is a use case that we figure out like we for this particular set of resources we don't want to export, so that could leverage deny property.
Yeah, right. Yes.
But yes, we support, right?
Like the mutated refs would be the same then. Because right now I think
Yes, sure.
these are
We are
different.
just exporting the three fields like the name, the namespace, and the type of that component. So those will be same. We just have to validate the kind for the Kubernetes model. Any other question?
Yeah, what does field export do?
It just basically exports the field like if someone else, if we have to use that particular field with some other components, it helps us to export that Kubernetes component fields to that particular using the config map or secrets something.
Nice. Yeah, do you have is there an example that could help reinforce that explanation?
Right now, I don't have it right now. I just have to go back to the issue.
Like one thing, like people, like most of these latest relationships have been the inventory type. Like, are they like, do they make sense more as an inventory or maybe like an edge? Because we support a bunch of different ones, like maybe a hierarchical one or an edge. Like, have you just like thought about that?
Like most of the edge cases that we support are mostly binding the components. Like here is no need for binding a particular component. We just need to export three fields from a Kubernetes component to the AWS controller component. So exporting the using the edge relationship won't be helpful here. Like in all the other scenarios, like if we are using the network relationship, those relationship doesn't make sense right here.
In this CloudFront AWS model is uh, aren't there any components that have net that we can relate with network? Because
No,
I
there
think
are
like
only 7 or 8, I guess maximum at 7 components are there. All those are just related with the Kubernetes or with each other, with one another.
maybe like take a look again like what each of these components do in terms of if they are under AWS CloudFront, because I think like if there's CloudFront if they are under CloudFront model, then they should have something to relate with like networking.
Okay.
Again, take a look if you would.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep. Shubham, this suggestion goes for you as well. We might have gotten into a pattern and sort of we need to, yeah. And yesterday we were saying just to make sure that you're actively considering what other visualizations might be appropriate. Do you guys know what type of a service CloudFront is? What is that service?
CDN?
CloudFront is a CDN,
Nice.
content.
What's that? Yeah, yeah. Where would you categorize a CDN in terms of technology? What type of tech is it? Is it a database? Is it a storage? Is it a, you know, there's various buckets. Is it compute? Is it, it's got a whole lot to do with
I'd say
networking.
storage. Oh, okay.
Sure. Yep. And it does have something to do with storage as well. Distributed. Yeah. I mean, you could, I'll answer the question like a distributed storage for purposes of overcoming the physical limitations of networking, of geography. It is about faster networking. It is about faster load time, and it all has everything to do with network. And so maybe there's an edge relationship in there, maybe. Anyway, or maybe not. It depends on what they've got exposed. But anyway, I was just trying to illustrate the point that we are making very good use of the inventory relationship, excellent use of it, maybe too maybe too much. I don't know. Anyway, there's also on this topic, Ritik, I think you have an update today on a list of all the relationships. We're going to skip out of order on the agenda, maybe. If you could bring that up and kind of share with everybody here, there's something to be asked of everyone on the call, and it has to do with the visualizations used for these relationships. So Ritik will share with us the current ones. And then the question for all of us is, are there more? Are there other types of visualizations, other ways to represent the way that the infrastructure interacts with one another, affects one another? So yeah, Ritik, so Ripul or Shubham, do either one of the two of you want to, touch upon what the categories of what these relationships are? Or anyone else that might be working on relationships that.
Can you please repeat the question?
Yeah. So for everyone on the call, if you would, direct your eyes towards Zoom for a moment. Take a look at the visualization here. This visualization is intended to represent, this is the moment in time in which a user is designing their infrastructure. They're working with Kubernetes infrastructure in this example. They have a deployment, which is what this square is. That is not immediately obvious that that's a deployment necessarily. There's a small badge on the lower left-hand corner or lower left-hand quadrant of the deployment square. That's how you sometimes see a deployment represented. And so it's being shown right there. Pentagons don't necessarily mean deployment to people until they've used this software for a while, then maybe they start to. So I think we have something of an open challenge there, maybe about how to visually convey what a deployment is. But that's one question. The other question we're trying to ask right here is, there's a relationship being represented between two components: the deployment, the square, and this rounded bucket, which is a config map. And the config map is mutating, or it's being applied to a Kubernetes deployment. So there's some amount of, workload specific configuration that's defined inside of this config map, this bucket, the blue bucket. It has been dropped onto or applied to this deployment, which is the square. And so the square, the deployment now contains at least one property. It's all that text that's inside of the config map inside the bucket. The way that this relates, so this is one type of relationship between two components. And this is how it's visualized today. There's a dotted green line around it because this screenshot or this visualization is taken in the design moment. So it's a moment in time in which the user is modifying the design. And so normally maybe we would or wouldn't see that. That's something for you all to ask yourself. But this is an example of one relationship. And if you quickly just scroll through the rest, here's a sibling relationship. So there's a config map and a service account. They are related to one another in terms of having the same parent. Who's their parent? A namespace, that blue square. Kubernetes, they both live in the same Kubernetes namespace. Okay. How can you articulate how they relate to one another? Well, at least you could say they are siblings because they have the same parent. And so on and on. There's about six-ish or so of these different sort of base types of relationships. There's more than 6 examples of how they visualize, but there's like 6-ish base types, relationship types. That seems like that isn't something that we have, but not in terms of that Kubernetes icon. It's interesting. but maybe we do. Rapul, Shubham, do you guys know if we do?
Yes, we have
Yeah,
that.
actually, we have a pod-to-pod firewall.
Firewall
totally,
network
that-
policy.
Wonderful, and that's not the question.
Mhm.
What's my question? My question is whether or not that icon is shown visually as a circle on top of the edge. In the case of this relationship, I don't believe that it is. Oh, no, nobody can answer. Uh-oh.
Actually, it
Okay.
is known as a binding.
Known as a binding, yep. And do you know if we visually show the, anyway,
Yeah,
separate
we show
question.
the circle like just like a PVC.
But does everybody else get the question that I'm asking, which is, how else might you visually represent these relationships? So we're dealing with a 2D imagery for the most part. There is some amount of 3D-ness happening, or there is some z-indexing happening, or the z-axis, with some aspects of the design overlapping other aspects. So that's something to play with. There's color to play with. There's the edges that are being drawn. They have a particular arrowhead that's changeable. You know, there's dashed lines, dotted lines, double stroke lines. There's any of which might communicate something to the user. Just trying to help with the ideation. Any ideas? Oh, cool. I'd have to open up this discussion on it and see if we can spur on some ideas. Just some. All right.
All right.
Some of the. Great. So Rapul, were you done with what you were going to share?
Yeah. Yes.
Cool. Yash. You go ahead, Ritik, since you're up.
Yeah. All right. So for those who are new, so we have a recognition program in which we assign users or the contributor, whether you're a user or contributor, you assign badges to them depending on the activity they do on our product on the projects. So we have a new badges leveling system defined. So we have a discussion post created. So if you want to go what the different color or the rings that we have on our badges, you can directly go to this discussion forum and see what these means. So or if you want to see what the badges that we currently have looks like, you can go to the badges.layer5.io site and look for the badges that we currently have. So yeah, this is the item. And yeah, you can also suggest if you think we should have some specific badge or for some specific activity. So yeah, suggestions are welcome. Yeah, I'll just share the link to the discussion forum in comment section. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ritik. Is there anything more that you would like to discuss?
No, yeah, that's
Okay, thank you, Ritik, and thank you, Ripple. Last time you shared your progress. Okay, I think next is Sean. Sean, would you like to share about the same update? I guess you have.
Yes. Okay, so these are the two components that are there in cube armor, and relationships for both of them have been defined. Both are event relationships. First of all, the cube armor policy, which is related to pod and all the
and pod template deployment, like all the components which manage pod and job and cron job. So kubearmor policy basically is linked to a pod and defines security policies which need to be run inside a pod. So basically, we are using annotations here because we don't know exactly which field the user wants to change. So here we are basically using annotations so that we can mention that this kubearmor policy is related with this pod. And secondly, for the kubearmor host policy, it's related to the node. And once the kubearmor host policy is related to a node, it actually applies for the entire node. And like the security policies inside the host policy applies for the entire node and all the components within it. For this specific PR, I received some suggestions from Uzair, so I have completed them. And Uzair, you can also re-review it. This is a new PR, so you can check this also. Any questions?
Yeah, on the description of the inventory relationship, I think the first statement that you're making perhaps is well intended, but perhaps is technically inaccurate. The first sentence, something to review. And
like for this specific relationship?
Nope, I think it's a general statement, that first sentence that you have.
Yeah, but that is like we have used it in all the inventory relationships.
No, now that we have it, I just got done providing feedback yesterday about the use of the example awesome filter. Like that first sentence, probably it isn't necessarily used on all the other hierarchical descriptions
No,
to
we have
describe.
calculated with pod and kubearmor policy. Like
Oh,
for the
nice.
specific ones, we'll use that only.
Yep, that's good.
And
Yep,
for
you got to
this
go
one,
back
we
to
have
your
used node and kubearmor host policy.
nice. You do need to revisit the first sentence. It's technically inaccurate. If it isn't, let me know if it helps if I point out where it's inaccurate. Rapul, you might know, and so good. Shubham, other items?
Not for today. We are done for today.
Let me know if you don't see where that's inaccurate. Let me know.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Shivam. Next is Akshay. Akshay, would you like to share out the cookie implemented from Airflow?
Akshay, you are not audible.
Okay, I guess he might be rejoining. Well, we can come back to him later. Let's jump to the next topic. He will let us know when he is ready to share. So, Launch, would you like to share about your update? Simplify UI assignment regarding the connection initiative.
I've already in the Abid's agenda I've discussed, like I've simplified the drop down options. Earlier we were not like, there were some problems and the count was not showing properly. So, and we also discussed that since we are not showing that much of environments, like user will not create that much of environments. So having that selection like not quite proper. So that's why I removed that and simplify the checkbox like to normal multi-select. And yeah, like then, and since the behavior is improved by Avid, so now in like the one of the feedback provided by the user so has been like improved.
So
completed.
I have a few questions. Like you remove the select all option from this, right?
Yeah, and like checkbox.
But like conventionally, what we follow is that if select is multi-select, we always show the checkbox. Otherwise, it's a single select. So if you remove this select all, it's fine, but we should show this checkbox over here because otherwise it will be wrong. It will be false, or we are like not following our convention.
Mhm. Okay, that in that case, I'll revert back that checkbox thing. Okay, any other feedback or questions? I was having data update on today.
Also, I last time I want to ask a question. So what I saw is that when I was selected a connection, like even after selecting a connection, it like showed the notification toaster. So does that mean like if I select a connection, like it calls the API? Like ideally, what it should do is like after selecting all the connection that I want to like uh, put in the environment or connect in the environment, after clicking on somewhere else and that select drop down going away, it should call the API. Because after, if we do that, if we call the API and wait for the response, and on the basis of that, we will update the UI. It like hangs the UI for a little bit. It gives us a delay response. So I will share with you that later if you are getting that my phone. I will share the video with you so that you can. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Shudanshu, for sharing that. Is there any other review for Shudanshu? Okay, Akshay, would you like to go next and share again?
Am I audible now?
Yeah, you are on.
So there are two different PRs on two different sites. And one of the question which I had in my mind and I wanted to ask to Siddhanshu, like uh, we mentioned to add the login or the profile icon functionality in badges.layer5.io. So I'll be repeating myself again and again. So can we create a component in System and use it here, or should I just repeat myself again and again in three different sites?
What do you think we should do?
I think System would be better because like I'm just copy pasting the same code everywhere.
We should
Yeah.
use system, I think.
We can use
But
okay,
I think we should use.
okay. Then I maybe in the next iteration, otherwise this PR will take much longer. And we can merge it right now. And all the things that I got reviewed from Ritik as well, and it's mobile responsive and everything. But I will see what can I do for the assistant, and then I can directly use it in the batch.layer5.io as well.
It was Akshay, relevant to the Meshery development call. This functionality is to go onto play.meshery.io. Is that right?
Yeah,
Nice. Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, you've got a recorded demo. Do you want to, for Antoinette or others on the call, do you guys, does this make sense to you, this proposed feature here on play.meshery.io? Good. Yes. That's what I heard. That's what I heard people say. Yeah, it makes total sense. I'm like, great, cool. There's something, later on that there might be, if you would, it would be good to open up an issue, just even though you might not work on it right away. Such that when other remote providers become available, there is a canonical list of what those remote providers are. Right now, that list is in the Meshery repo. It's in the provider UI, or it's in, I guess it's not in the provider UI, it's in the it's in Meshery server, and part of its initialization routine. When that list grows and there are multiple more continuously and readily available remote providers like Meshery Cloud, then we want to make sure that the avatar component that you'll end up having here could allows for that, or allows for maybe there's yeah, we just need to allow for a system of registration. There doesn't need to be dynamic. It just needs to be an issue that says there needs to be a holding spot for static definition of what cookies to look for as soon as someone else wants to have another remote provider.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does the recently feedback form we had, does it make sense to add here, like when user already has access to the playground instead of early access?
Like, I think we discussed it earlier because the form is like, this is the form, like early access form below. Record. This one. We can show the feedback form here, but let's hear others review on this one.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, was there another enhancement other than the avatar?
No.
Oh, I see. Nice. Is there any reason for these two not to be wed? Like, can we merge?
Yeah, it can be merged.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, nobody's got. Yep, it's been presented a few times. Hopefully, you'll file that open issue as a placeholder for when people want to add another remote provider or a different cookie, a different domain, different cookie to look for, or multiple cookies to look for. And so, nice. That's pretty neat. And so you guys agreed, I think what you guys had agreed is to potentially produce a component, a reusable component, but it sounded like what you were also agreed to is to go ahead and go forth with the repetition as is at the moment and work on a component subsequently. Is that right?
Yep.
Nice. All right.
Thank you, Akshay. Okay, so we are on time. Before going like wrapping up the call, David would like to discuss about the discussion items.
Yeah, quickly share my screen and cover this item. So assuming that my screen is visible and I'm clearly audible, so discussion forum is one of the venues where we collaborate and talk about various proposals or any issues that you want to talk about, or if you need any help in any area of the community or project. So there are two ways in which you can access discussion forum. First is discuss.layer5.io. You can navigate there, sign up and interact with the existing posts, or you can also create a new topic. Or you can also interact with discussion forum through this convenient / command, that is /discuss post n. So from any of the Slack channels, what you can do, you can execute this command where n represents the number, the position where your message is lying. So for example, if it's the latest one in the channel, so then the n would be 1. So if you put, if you execute /discuss post 1, it will load a transcript and it will let you edit all the messages that you want to put. And once you're done, you can hit this enter, and it will post that on discussion forum on behalf of you. So that's also the second method that you want to follow. And after that, we'll be taking a look at the most active folks on discussion forum who are engaging there. So we, like on bi-weekly calls, we celebrate them as discussion champions, and this is a kind of testament to their work that they have been doing in the community, helping others and also sharing knowledge. So let's take a look. Yeah, so they are Sangram Rath in terms of likes received, Deepak Reddy for topics created, and then also posts read. So this is Shubham Pandey. So they have all been doing amazing work, and so this is a kind of this is a reflection of that. So congratulations to all of you, and please keep doing what you're doing. So once again, I will congratulate you all, and if any one of you would want to say any words so that others can also get inspired from it, so now is the time you can. Or I'll also be posting it on discussion forum, so you can say there too. Yeah, please go ahead.
No inspirational speech on the spot, man. Wow. Deepak, Shubham, good. You guys, your work is being noticed. That's great. And Sangram, he just well, he got our first tutorial out in Meshery Docs. There's a tutorial up now on, I think, exploring, I don't know, deploying Kubernetes pods using Meshery. So I guess he's winning in more ways than one. Nice. Actually, Sangram just signed up. There's a couple of, I don't know, 8 or so DevOps help wanted activity or tasks out there. They're described in the discussion forums. He just signed up for one as well. So yeah, we'll have to embarrass him in Slack or something. Well, or on the discussion forum. We'll have to go post this. That's cool.
So that was my this little celebration. So I'll be stop sharing my screen.
Great. As we go to wind up the call, Archit, do you have anything that you'd like to share?
Yes, I do have. Share my screen. So one thing is like in layer5.io, I have like removed the project section, and I have added this use Meshery.
Good. Yeah, well, excellent. Sorry, I should have been more specific. I thought it was sort of assumed. Related to what was just being said, there is a recognition system that some of you have been receiving recognition for. The site kind of works now and kind of doesn't. Archit, there's something to check on.
Yes, like in the home page actually got broke while I was fixing the merge conflicts. I'll fix that. I'm working on it.
All right. Oh my goodness. There is a leaderboard out here. So Kingsley, I don't think he's on the call. Well, that's not it. Well, yeah, I was hoping that we would have a leaderboard to show folks.
We do have it, like if you had / leaderboards. It's working now.
All right. So speaking of people who've been making an impact on the discussion forum, Archit, I don't know if you want to say anything about this.
Yeah, yes. So this is like basically this data is being fetched from Discuss
discuss layer 5, and so like you can see all the people who are like contributing to the discussion forum from here.
Nice. Yeah, there's some things we should do about excluding folks that have zeros, or just ending it at 7 probably. Some enhancements, but this is good. It's been about 2.5 years that we've been trying to just more or less replicate what's already on the discussion forum. But the reason that this is promising is that this would begin to incorporate other metrics. So badges received, or PRs closed, or like there's tons of ways that people contribute. There's lots. And so good. So there's a couple of mock-ups for an enhancement to the cloud catalog, and how it is that as Meshery is positioned to be the CNCF's playground, or an instance of it is positioned to be, that as individuals produce, like Deepak, produce designs, we'll be here in the coming weeks adding a number of metrics to track how many times the designs are viewed and downloaded and deployed and cloned and to help elevate the work that individuals like Deepak are doing. And so, yeah, so there's something of a proposal around a leaderboard here, or for that same leaderboard to incorporate metrics from here as well. So, yeah, so pretty cool. Maybe next time, Victoria, she has some designs on mockups for what those metrics would look like. So maybe she'll share. That'd be nice. It'd be a good way of recognizing the contributors.
Thank you. Yeah. So thank you, everyone. We are already 12 minutes over time. Today was an awesome call. We learned a lot, and we also celebrated few folks and their walk around here. Thanks for joining today. I will encourage you to join tomorrow's newcomers meeting. If you are new to Meshery and the Layer 5 community, you will learn a lot over there. You can ask your questions that you have. Also, tomorrow we have a Meshery CI/CD meeting. It's an awesome meeting for you to join if you are DevOps guy. Loves to do DevOps kind of thing, CI/CD things. So you can check out the Layer 5 calendar, and we will see you there. And also, thanks for joining today, everyone. And we will see you next week, same time and same meeting. Thanks for joining. Bye.
See ya.